Here we go. All right. All right.
Oh,
cool.
Reese got to do this every single time before
I do.
he starts.
It's I can do calisthenics and shit. Because once I get going, I'm good. But I just got to get myself there.
Routine or something?
All right. All right.
What?
All right, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to another Sports Gaming Anonymous podcast. I'm here with the crew. I am Henri, a.k.a. Ri, a.k.a. Flash, a.k.a. Flash Extreme, a.k.a. call me whatever you want, just as long as it's not Henry. And, as usual, got the best producer in the business. Dre Wingate was good.
What up, what up?
All right, my man C, a.k.a. C1, a.k.a. your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. What is good?
This whole thing with my hands is starting to become a running gag, so I'm just holding my balls right now. Feel me?
I don't feel you, but making his triumphant return back to the podcast world with us is my man, Sladro. What is happening?
Was just sipping, you know.
Oh, man, yeah, we know. We know how that goes. So, this podcast, our main podcast here, we're just going to be chit-chatting about whatever's on everybody's mind, whatever's in the news, and we're just going to keep flowing like that. You know, I'll kick things off with something simple. Shit I've been watching on Netflix. Yeah, I just watched an episode of Floor is Lava, and if anybody wants to know how it is, you ever watched Wipeout? Okay, it's very similar to Wipeout. It's very stupid.
But is it better?
I mean, it's Wipeout is designed for you to like fail. Like this game, like Floor is Lava, you can actually succeed in completing the tasks. And it's kind of, you know, you can take different routes to get through the room and shit. So it's all right. It's something that can play in the background while you do other things. Like it's not something that require your main focus. Like, you know, it's just not. Yeah, and Madden's trash. So before I get into that, I'm just going to let somebody else go because if I go, I'm just going to go on a rampage. So I'm going to try not to do that. And I'm going to pass it off to Dre.
All right, so one thing that I want to talk about, since Ree brought up Madden, we're not going to talk about Madden, but we are going to talk about football. We're going to talk about the NFL.
Okay.
And everyone knows for the past couple months, everything that's been going on. We've got COVID. We've got the Black Lives Matter movement. We've got basically anything that can be challenged in society. It's being challenged because we're all stuck at home and things are just being brought to the forefront. So with the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, a lot of companies are coming out. They're saying, you know, oh, we support you all, you know, XYZ, all that kind of stuff. You know, everyone's posting on social media the different groups that they are supporting and they're sending money to and stuff like that. And to me, it's all, you know, like I said, this is all me personally. It's all fine and dandy. I love it. I love when people are supporting our movement if they're supporting it for the right reason and not just for like, you know, some publicity stunt or just so they can have a what I've been calling a get out of cancel free card. So I just hope that, number one, people are doing it for the right reasons, you know, for actual change. But, you know, it just came out this week that the NFL, you know, during week 1, so they're going to play the national anthem and the Black national anthem. Now,
First of all, when did we get a Black national anthem? But anyway,
we've had a Black national anthem for a while. You know, at least when I was in elementary school, we used to sing it before every single event, like school play and program, all that kind of stuff. I went to a predominantly Black elementary school. I think we were like
Black national anthem before.
We were like 90%. We were like 90% Black. Here's my thing about it. Number one, if the NFL is going to play it, the NFL has to play it right. We only do the first verse.
Oh God.
We don't do the whole song. Like when you're at events and stuff like that, like you don't do the entire song.
Quick
like
question.
You normally do the first verse, the chorus, and you move on.
You know, is it a prerequisite of being Black to know the Black national anthem? Because you might have to take my card because I don't know a verse,
You don't know the song "Lift Every Voice"?
I know that first line. That's it.
That's the Black National Anthem?
Yeah, lift every voice and
Yeah, I must have had a different.
heaven.
Yeah, I must have heard a different version then.
Yo,
What were you
Version
thinking?
I heard. That's what they playing? If they playing that,
This
I'm
man
in.
Lil Wayne is his god.
If they playing that, I'm in for the game. So
But here's my thing about it. One, you've already come out and said that week one, at least for right now, they could change their mind. But right now, week one is the only time that they're playing the Black National Anthem. So for 1 week to the NFL, Black lives are going to matter to the point where we play the Black National Anthem.
Right.
But for the rest of the other 16, 17, whatever weeks of the season, we're just going to stick with the national anthem. That's number one. Number two, y'all still ain't done right by Cap.
Yeah, let's start there. Let's
like with everything going on. Roger Goodell and the NFL has put out statements saying, hey, we support the Black Lives Matter movement. We support our players, that use their voice to speak out for social injustice, things like that. But yet when a player was doing this years ago, everybody was crucifying him and condemning him. And no one wants to come out. And now I don't know if with their, like with the settlement that they came to, I don't know if there's a clause in there or something that says that neither party can speak of the other or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer and none of us have read the settlement, but they still haven't done right by Cap. Word. That's number one. So to me, it's seeming like a little fake, or it's seeming like the NFL is just like, hey, we just want to make it seem like we're doing something. And then boom, we're going to go back to status quo. Because once again, we used our get out of cancel free card for this 1 week.
Right.
So, and then, we know the whole thing going on with Washington. People have been asking Washington to change their team name.
We've been doing this for years.
For decades.
I talked about this 6 years ago.
But now here's where I'm like, it's not because of the Black Lives Matter movement. The Black Lives Matter movement propelled it and helped it, but it's not because of it.
Correct.
It's because their money is being affected.
Exactly.
FedEx, Nike, they're the big corporations. They said, hey, if y'all don't change it, we're pulling out.
Yeah.
But my question is, why now? Why didn't y'all been backing them for years, for decades? Why did y'all wait till now? If y'all knew something was wrong with it before, why wait till now?
Because it's popular now. Now it's popular to be more racially correct.
I'm totally for everyone changing, everyone learning, everyone accepting their faults in certain things. So if someone from one of these companies comes out and says, hey, we were wrong, we XYZ, 1, 2, 3, whatever. If they explain themselves, I'm cool with it.
They
doing this to hop on the bandwagon.
Let's not forget that Native Americans were offended way before Black people were. Okay, so they should have been the first ones getting comeuppance. But go ahead.
What were you about to say, C?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, because I was thinking about this earlier, and what this feels like is it feels like some sort of underhanded shit, because what they just finished doing is canceling, I think, what was the entire preseason? It's down to 2 games right now.
Yeah, they canceled. It's still in the works, but it's week 1 and week 4, the preseason as of right now.
So what's happening now is they went ahead, the NFL went ahead and made statements, and several coaches have made statements that they support whichever players want to kneel. And, and some coaches have even come out and said that they would kneel with their players in support if their players decided to start to kneel together.
Yeah, for how long though? So,
I think this was, and maybe this is just the really militant part of me that I don't talk about on camera, but, is it really a tactic to be like, well, what y'all going, they want to show the other, good old boys that, these Black people don't have no respect. They'll go out there and they'll kneel to their own anthem. Watch this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it makes it where they make it where the players have to explain if it was about the anthem or not. And it was this had nothing to do with the anthem.
Right.
Y'all gonna learn today. And I don't think they understand that they're on a crash course trying to take this, because what you're doing is you're taking your business and you're putting it in a spot where somebody else is holding your business in their hands and they can decide what to do with it. They can crack the egg on either side of the car, but it's still a cracked egg.
Right.
So I think, this feels more like a tactic than anything else to kind of challenge the players. Like, let's see if you're going to kneel on week 1 and you're going to kneel to the Black National Anthem. But I don't think they understand that the players aren't thinking about the anthem, and it's just very tone deaf, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's fun. You mentioned that it wasn't for the anthem, which it's not. There were these ongoing issues that they finally, that everybody was protesting for, and they chose that stage, to express themselves. But let's not forget that doing it during the anthem also speaks volumes by itself, because let's not forget that if you're Black, the anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, is not for you at all. Like, no part of it. And so much so that parts of it were conveniently taken out. So they were like, they looked at it like many, 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 many years ago. It was like, oh, we can't leave that in there. Like, that's, we just got to take that part out. And it's just, all right, here's what's left. And it's like, none of that is for, if you're Black, none of that is for you. So I look at people that are Black, and it's like, they look and they stand for this flag, and they sing it. They sing the anthem. And I'm like, this is not for you. This was never for you. Like, I don't care. Yes, we've come generations, and, we've all been born here, and we're raising our kids here, and our kids were born here. But it's not for you. It never was for you. And it's never going to be for you ever. Like, the Star Spangled Banner is not for Black folks. Just isn't.
But the thing about that is, that's not the only, like, we as Black people, there's been a lot of stuff that hasn't been for us. But we either embrace it, or we kick the door open, and we take it as our own anyway, because that's just what we had to do.
Yeah.
So, with the anthem, and I think that's why people were kind of confusing the message that Kaepernick was trying to, to say in the beginning. When people see the anthem, or when people see the flag, they want to, if you do anything against it, they want to immediately throw, your the pride for your country, or your support for the military. They want to throw all that kind of stuff at it, when none of that had anything to do with it. Kaepernick didn't say anything against the country in a sense like, man, I wish I was never here. Correct. Or man, this country sucks, blah, 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 blah. And he never said anything negative against the military or anything like that. His whole point was, we aren't equal. We want justice. We want equality. We want y'all to see what we're going through and help us. We want to right this ship. But everybody was trying to change the narrative to that, right. Oh, if you kneel, then you don't support our troops, or you don't support this country, and things like that, when that wasn't what his point was. Ain't got
shit to do with that. And they always want to say, oh, you welcome to leave. You can go back to your country. You can go back to yours too. Because guess what? This ain't yours either.
Native Americans are the only ones that don't have anywhere to go back to.
There's only one people that can stake claim to this country.
And guess what? When you go back, now you're an immigrant.
Right. Like, what are you doing here? Like, I don't know. They sent me over here. I'm
to the point where I'm done discussing like why they're kneeling and stuff like that. If you don't get that point by now, I'm not talking to you. If you're not talking about how we can change things, then it's irrelevant to me at this point. It's too late for the why is he kneeling and this and that.
Exactly.
It's been 3 years almost. Like, if you don't know, you don't want to know.
Right.
You're just not even trying to know. So.
Correct.
Or you know and just don't care. So it's one of the two.
That's a fair point. So, my thing is just like, I see some people are trying. Like the NFL, I'll give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. They're trying. But I just think that, maybe they actually need to sit down and actually figure out what are ways that we can actually affect this change, help this change.
Right.
In the way that you all are, actually wanting this movement to go forward, and not just throwing something out there that they think we want to like. Because, like, let's look at some of the stuff that's happened just this week alone. besides the Black National Anthem, they pulled Hulu pulled an episode of the Golden Girls down because they had mud mask on, and they were saying that it was blackface. But even in the episode, they said it was a mud mask. We as Black people, like my grandma, like she loved the Golden Girls. I remember being at her house watching Golden Girls just about every single day, all the time. My grandma never had anything negative to say about them. Nothing negative to say about that episode. No Black person these past few months has been asking, hey, please take Golden Girls down. Yes. That's going against us. Please do this for us. Like, no one was asking for that. But everyone's grabbing for these little things that they think we want when no one's actually asking us or even listening to us by saying, this is what we want. This is what we're fighting for. Removing this Golden Girls episode is not what we're fighting for. Fact. So that's where I'm like, I feel like they don't know what to do. And instead of just asking, they're just grasping at straws, and they're grasping at all the wrong straws. Like, it's just, that's my thing. I think that people just need to sit down and actually listen to us, listen to what we're saying, and then figure out a way to help us for that, and not just try to give us something where they think, okay, well, let's give them this and call this a win for them. Like, I don't want to win a battle. I want to win the war.
Right.
So that's the way I look at it.
Take the master bedroom out of houses and like master.
Oh, they've been trying to do that.
Stop shooting me in my back, and then you can keep the master bedroom. I'll be fine. Like,
yeah,
you can have the master bedroom. Stop about that.
The owner's
like,
suite.
They're just doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
The Aunt Jemima's, the Uncle Ben's getting changed out. It's just.
But yet,
somewhere.
Breonna Taylor's
why
killers
is
are still out there.
Right.
Ahmaud Arbery, his killers, even though the trial is going on, like at the time of us recording this, but they're technically, like, we don't know what the verdict is at this moment. The thing is, we don't, like, everything that we're actually fighting for, we're still fighting for that. All these other things, like, they're small. I'm not even counting them wins. Like the Golden Girls episode, the master bedroom, that's not a win to me. That's right. More like a, look here, even though this is what you all are focused on, but we want y'all to focus right here. That's what it's, it's like a magic trick. So that's what I feel like they're trying to do. And it's not what we're asking for. So
100% agree. All right, we'll see. What do you got?
Here we go.
The main thing that I've been seeing a lot, and I'm in a lot of like anime lovers groups and stuff like that online, and a lot of spaces where young men and young women discuss matters that are related to anime. And one of the things that I start to see a lot is the can he be Goku though, or let's do Superman versus Goku, or let's do Luffy versus Naruto. And I'm just here to say that the conversation is pointless, because the problem is you have to cross verses. Like, you have to have this battle in someone's verse. And so one character is always going to have the clear advantage being in the verse and being already adjusted. You know what I mean? So exactly like somebody like Saitama, who was literally created for people to be able to say, nobody can beat this guy. Like, that was the intent of the show, is to make fun of the OP character. And we know the OP character that everybody talks about. And so if the conversation always leads back to the same point, why have the conversation if you know where the conversation is going to end up? So I just want to go ahead and put it out there. Hashtag whatever you think of.
Hashtag Goku's the best? Is that what you were going to say? Or...
Nah, literally hashtag whatever you think of, instead of everybody coming to the same conclusion of something. So, enjoy that.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
I think the conversation needs to come to an end.
It will never,
it'll never come to an end for the same reason that none of those conversations will come to an end. Who's the best, the basketball, who's your top 5, who's your top 10, who's the best 3,
Opinions.
Who's the best 5 wide receivers ever, because football, you can't classify all together. You got to break it down by position. But everybody's got a list. I mean, that stuff will never end. Yeah, we could all come to a real general consensus on who the best 10 NBA players were ever. And most of it would be fairly similar at this point, except for Slay Joe, because he would change. He would make his different on purpose.
We all knew where this was going, right?
But
I just
those
wanted people to see, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Lakers #1 fan right there.
But in all fairness though, if you made really every time I go over my top 10 NBA list, it's like there's at least 5 or 6 Lakers.
this is very random. Stop putting Larry Bird in your top 5, please. Please.
He shouldn't be top 5.
That's just random.
I think that's a bit much.
Stop it.
Even Dre would admit that he's not top 5.
I tell y'all all the time, I put him top 10. So he's probably 6 on my list.
Oh my God, 6.
We're not gonna do this today.
But whenever I've talked about it, I've never put Bird in my top 5, and I'm a huge Celtics fan. I love Larry Bird.
Edit. Don't put Larry Bird in your top 6. Not fair.
But see, all right. So, and here's the thing. So, to classify what you're saying with the anime, like, people are gonna talk about their own different things. They're gonna have their own different lists, all that kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it's all an opinion. Like, if someone watches one show, like, I don't watch One Piece, so no One Piece character is going to be in my top 5, top 10, no matter what anyone says. 'Cause I just haven't watched the show. I'm not connected to the characters like that. So when people watch the shows and they're connected to the characters, that's why they have stuff like that.
Right.
So it's the same thing in sports. I'm gonna tell everyone, my #1 player, MJ, is the GOAT. I don't care what anyone says. You can talk about LeBron. You can talk about this person, that person, all that kind of stuff. LeBron. MJ's #1 to me.
LeBron's not even above Kareem.
You ask Sladro,
they're not ready.
Kobe's gonna be #1 to him. You ask people that are older than us, even older than you, Reed, and then who they might say. They'll probably say Larry Bird or Magic Johnson. And if you ask the kids now, they're gonna say LeBron James and Steph Curry. So it's always an evolving thing. You're never going to be able to end that argument. Kids love Curry. Like, I like Curry too, but I'm never going to say Curry is the
Steph Curry is
best
MJ
player
to these kids,
ever
man.
to
Steph
play
Curry
the
is
game.
MJ to these kids.
Like, it's just but it's always an evolving thing because it's people's opinions. So yeah, I mean, you can tell people think what they want, but that's what everyone's doing anyway. Everyone's already thinking what they want. Like, no one cares about your opinion unless, like, whatever evidence you bring to the table, it's got to be some great evidence to make them, change their minds and stuff like that. And most people just aren't going to.
It's a generational thing. It's the same, again, just like every other sport. It's the same thing with football. Same, like, these kids, people that grow up now, they're watching football, like, they don't know who Jerry Rice is. They don't know nothing about no Jerry Rice. They about to not know anything about Randy Moss.
They're about to not know even who Calvin Johnson was.
So they,
they know who Julio Jones is, though.
Oh my God, don't do that.
They know he has no Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, you know what?
Hey.
You know what I want? I want a top 5. Let's do a top 5.
Ghosts don't have fingers, bro.
There we go. Top 5 sprinters, top 5 clean sprinters of all time.
Are you saying you're #1?
Yep. Dead ass too.
Hey, Carl
Everybody
Lewis.
else does.
Respect it.
Carl Lewis is in there.
Nah, but you couldn't do that because everybody's dirty. You didn't hear
Carl
that.
Lewis wasn't dirty. And that's why he kind of sits in there. There's not much other people you could probably put in the list.
Have you heard him sing the national anthem?
Say what?
Have you ever heard him sing the national anthem?
We're not gonna talk about that.
Right.
That's not what we talk about.
Just wanted to know. When you're wrong, you gotta just start throwing stuff.
We're not talking about that.
Left field.
Oof. Golly, that was terrible.
Wow.
You got anything, Slater? What you got?
All right. So somebody got to get the anonymous topic solved. I feel like that's why I'm here today. All right. First question. Well, we got some married men on the podcast, so we're going to keep it light.
Not him, not the brother over there, but that's all right.
I know, it's cool.
That's okay, though, because I'm still qualified to answer the question.
Say what you got to say, young fella.
The first half of this question is, if your homeboy hits a chick, can you wife her?
No.
Yes.
Oh, see, I
Y'all said that.
I like
No.
that.
We're gonna sit back and let y'all have this one.
You can't. It's just you can't come smoke with me at my house.
Look, here's the thing.
That's not a friendship, bro.
You can't. It really depends. Because first of all,
that's not a friendship.
Where my popcorn at?
Because first of all, it really depends on if it's one of those things where it was like, okay, well, me and her just kind of hooked up and it wasn't nothing serious like that, and just like just had like, I'm not gonna like, I could like if me and her get serious and we get involved, like just because that was my homeboy doesn't in my head eliminate her as an option. Just because it was happened to be my friend. What about the 30 or 40 other dudes that she hooked up with before me? Like, how's that any different? Like, I mean, to me, it's really to say, like, he didn't know that I was going to end up wifing her up. That's not his fault. Now, if we were talking and then, like, we stopped talking for a while and then he smashed, that probably can't happen after that because he knew damn well that was somebody that I was talking to at some point and then came back to. But it can't be like, I can't hold that against her or him, if me and her never had any like, conversation or anything like that beforehand. He's just another dude in my book.
Yo, so here's my take on it, right? I think this is kind of an area of expertise of mine because I've been in a 13-year-long relationship. Okay? So my original task in my marriage was to make her ex's history.
I mean,
that means everybody that you've been with needs to be completely out of the picture. I don't want you to remember them.
So you a hitman now? You a contract killer?
See, that's another thing, but I'll make that point later. Go ahead, continue.
If somebody's irrelevant, then they need to be truly irrelevant. I don't need you connecting and making googly eyes and shit with the motherfucker that done been up in you before.
Okay. I mean,
why would I be cool with that? Like, yeah, just look somebody in the eyes that look you in the eyes with their dick in your vagina. Pardon the language. Yeah, bleep me or something later.
Dre, did you?
But you feel what I'm saying though? Like,
yeah, I mean,
it doesn't make sense because because when men and women are when men and women are intimate and you connect on like a level of like true passion.
Hold on, let me stop you right there.
Let me just say this because I'm speaking from the position of a married man. Let me explain this. This is real talk. You are exchanging pieces of who you are with that person. It's not like when you just go grab a drink and you hear something that you met that night. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, but who? Okay, yes, I agree with
that
the
long
premise.
term. I don't been with you. I really rock with you type. You know what I'm saying? And you have that going. Mm-hmm. It's different.
I mean,
so if somebody has shared that with the woman that you're with, I don't want them being able to lock eyes with you ever again. That person is history.
I mean, I understand the premise of what you're saying. I totally agree with that, but there's no way for you to differentiate. Maybe that's all it was. Maybe it was just like, oh, they just kind of hooked up and yeah, we smashed and that was it. Like, there's no way to say like for sure, like, because it's
either I can't deal with her when I find out, or I can't deal with you when I find out.
Every sexual encounter is not a passionate encounter. Trust me. Like I'm sure
I understand. That's what I'm explaining.
So there's no way to say like, oh, yeah, me and him. Like, there's ways to know this. Where it's like, yeah, we kind of talking, we date, we saw each other a couple times, and maybe you can kind of make the assumption there that's like, okay, maybe there was some sort of passion involved. But if it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, we hooked up and we smashed or whatever, but that's really all it was. Like, then you could kind of make the assumption the other way that maybe it was just fucking, like, or one time or whatever the case may be. Like, sometimes fucking is just fucking. Like, like
somebody in my phone.
Huh?
You want to tell somebody that in my phone? They don't get it.
I mean, but it's true. Like, because you could literally, and you could literally just be that on that level with somebody where y'all just smashing. And like,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 20-second late seeds.
That's still so late.
And like, that's all it is. Like, it's never anything intimate. You can fuck somebody multiple times and it's just like, okay, we were just fucking. Like, we were never like close like that. Go ahead, Dre.
What I have to say about it.
Uh-oh.
Both of you are right, and both of you are also wrong. And here's why. It's a case-by-case situation.
Correct.
You can't go into it thinking that, I'm gonna do this. If every girl I get with, she can't talk to any other dude that she's been with before. Because one, you don't even know if y'all gonna last. And now, see, I'm not talking about you and your wife. I'm just speaking in general.
I understand.
Like, you don't know that you all are gonna last. So you're gonna end up being that dude when she moves on to another guy, or she's gonna end up being that girl when you move on to another girl. And that's just how that goes. Also, you got to think some people might have hooked up young, had a kid, things didn't work out for them. They get a divorce, but they're still technically connected because of that kid. So they still have to meet, do all, if they have, custody and all that kind of stuff, shared custody and whatnot. So they have to have some type of connection with them. Now, see, I get what you're saying. You don't want them to have a personal or I want to say like a sexual connection, but you don't want them to have like like an intimate connection with them. Like if you want them to cut off all intimate ties and they're just basically like, hey, this is just business, then, that's one thing. What Ri is saying, he's like, some people just hook up and in that moment, they feel that in that moment. And then after that, they're done. It's all, they move on to the next person. They're not even thinking about it, things like that. So in terms of Sladro's, initial question, like, if it's someone that, my homeboy hooked up with years ago and it was like a one-off thing, or it's like, hey, I was at a party, we connected at the party, whatever, but that was it. It's a one-time thing. You can't get mad at him mad at him or her because of that. Now, if they were together, like they dated, they had some years behind them, some, whatever. If there's history, me personally, I'm just not going to want to affect that, because I don't want that person to come up in that situation, and then I don't want it to become a comparison battle. So I'm not saying you have to cut off communication or you can't talk to them, all that kind of stuff, because everyone is, their own person. Every situation is different. But if there's years behind it, me personally, like I wouldn't even go after her just because, out of respect for my homeboy, because they have history. That's the main thing. But if it's like a one-off, if it's a one-off thing, then, like Ri said, it is what it is. But you can't really, you got to be able to talk to them. You got to figure that kind of stuff out. But there is no definite, you can't talk to anybody that you dealt with in your past, or I can only be I'm your only person. Because me, I'm like, look, I'm gonna prove to you every day that I'm all that you need. So I'm not even worried about, dude from last year and all that kind of stuff. So that's the way that it is. And if you can't prove that, then she gonna, look around. But if you prove that, then, theoretically she should stick around.
How many homeboys do you have like that you won't hit their, ex, that you won't date their ex? How many homeboys is that in your life? For me,
so let me answer this question like this. When I was in high school, I had maybe about five or six. When I was in college, probably about 3. Right now, 3. So
it's only like 2 or 3 people that I will not date anybody that has sex with just because we're too close. Like, it's just gonna be awkward. But on the flip side, I will let anyone that I've had sex with date it. If one of my homeboys wanted to go at her, that's what they love, I'm not gonna stop it though. That's just me personally. But I won't go after anyone they've dated or had sex with. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. It's weird to me. But if they want to do it, hey man, you grown. I can't stop you. I can't stop somebody from falling in love with somebody they fall in love with. Right. Hey, man, that's on y'all.
Right.
Have fun.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hey, look, it's good points.
You know, somebody had to take it left.
Oh, I missed what your.
No, he was just
closing out his topic in general.
Yeah. I feel like C wanted to say something.
Well, C, so I want to ask you this question. Did she come to you and say that you can't, or no, did she bring up her past guys to you, or did you bring up the conversation and say, hey, like, I'm not comfortable with you talking to anybody from your past, you know, yada, 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 blase, blase?
It's something we kind of came up with together because she was, when we met, she was a few months removed from a relationship, but with somebody that was like still trying to hold on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was dating, I want to say, like early stages of dating like 2 or 3 other people at the time that I just cut it right there.
Wait,
and
time out. Flag on play. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
No.
Did you say...
This is me being real.
No, I'm glad that you're being real.
Yeah, so just hear what I'm saying. So
wait, but I just want to make sure I heard what you said correctly. So okay. you were dating 2 or 3 other people at that time.
Yeah.
While you were talking to her after she had been a few months removed from a
relationship. SGA After Dark.
Which is no problem on my end, but go ahead.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. I just want to make sure I get all my
facts straight. But she was the type that, like, you know, everybody's got like 1 or 2 exes that you know what I'm saying, you still cool with. Like, not cool like we talk on the phone every day, but like we follow each other on Instagram and I like a pic here and there. Like, everybody's got a couple of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not talking about that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about like y'all been together, like, you know what I'm saying? Did the whole, you know what I'm saying, hang out and the overnights and the hanging out and meeting each other's families, like had like serious situations. And I think she was kind of at a stage in life where she was just like, well, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. And I was at a stage in my life where I was like, you know what? I'm ready to go ahead and do this. And in that, what we promised to each other was that we don't let bullshit on the outside get in between whatever the fuck we got going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So if anything has a 1% chance of causing that type of disruption, then we have to cut that whole situation off.
Okay. So here's one thing that I think I'm making the connection of between the difference of what you and Ri said.
Yeah. I just want to make a point. Sorry to interrupt, but I just want to make the point that I understand what he's saying, like the regular one night stand shit and all of that.
Yeah.
But to me, I fit his example and my example into a 50-50 chance of what this could have been.
Mm-hmm.
And there shouldn't be a 1% chance that it could have been my example.
All right. So
also,
what it sounds like
you
what
go,
happened.
Dre,
go ahead.
Also, sometimes you can't avoid that because sometimes you take on the stepdad role, and guess what? That means it's going to be somebody, you know, that had a certain status in your partner's life. You can't avoid that shit.
Right.
So there that
is. But hang on.
My point was that you can avoid it being your homeboy.
Well, yes, you can.
So
you
okay.
can.
So this is what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Number one, first, you had communication, and with her, and you all came to a collective agreement that we were gonna remove anything that could potentially cause friction between us or anything like that. That's number one. From what I'm hearing, it sounded like you all had this like a joint, you know, conversation about this. Yeah, it wasn't you demanding, hey, you can't. Okay, so that's number one.
I couldn't tell her what to do anyway, to be honest with you.
All right, that's just one point I wanted to make sure.
I can't tell her what to do.
Like, number one, you shouldn't be demanding things like
Nah.
have civil conversations.
That's whack.
Number two, so here's the situation, like with your homeboys, and it's kind of why I said what I said when Slater asked the question. You know, when I was in high school, I had, you know, more homeboys than what I consider what I have now. So
I think we all did.
Right. So the thing is, like, is everybody always your homeboy?
My motherfuckers
like,
dropping like flies.
What
in my
classify?
life.
And then really, like, there are girls that I liked when I was in high school and stuff like that. Some girls that my homeboys messed with, and I look at them now, and it's nothing, you know, it's not like they look bad or anything like that. I'm just like, that was a high school feeling that I had. You know, I'm older. I've gone through some things. Like, I don't necessarily, you know, feel about them the same way I thought I felt about them back in high school. So the thing is, how often would you and your homeboy even like the same girl, want to go after the same girl after one another? Because I don't even feel like me personally, I don't even feel like it would happen that often. I was only in that situation maybe once, and it wasn't even serious at all. All my relay bros, we were at a track meet. There was a girl, everyone liked her. I got her number and was able to talk to her first. That's pretty much all it was. But we didn't all, like, after she and I, like, nothing really happened or anything like that. None of them went after her or anything like that. So it's like, usually there's like an unwritten rule. Like, people know, all right, if you've been dealing with her, I'm not gonna say anything. Because if it's a one night stand, you're probably not even gonna bring it up.
Right.
It's not gonna be something y'all talk about in the group chat. It's just gonna be one of those things where you're like, you know, if you see her and if she says, hey, and you're with your boys and they're like, oh, who's such and such? You know, she kind of cute. What's up with her? Oh, man, that's just somebody from my past. And, man, that's somebody from some party. And, you know, they're going to talk like that.
Right.
But
like,
then if it's someone, but if it's someone that they were close to, intimate with, all that kind of stuff, you'll know because they'll talk about it. And you just won't want to deal with her because you already know too much about her. There won't be much that you'll have to figure out for yourself, or, you know, you all do the, like, kind of part of the dating process will already be done because your homeboy done told you everything that you need to know. And then you don't want her to even be the one to tell you bad stuff about him because that's your homeboy. So It's, you know, that's why I say it's like it's a case by case situation, but I don't even foresee it necessarily happening that often. And that's just from my experience, but it all depends. And timing is everything. If my homeboy is talking about her, I ain't gonna fret. But if I had no clue, and we just went off meet, and then something happens, and then he tells me later, oh, you know, I met her at a party, whatever. I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. That's what's up. I'm moving off my day. I mean, we all adults. Right. Stuff happens. People meet people. We don't know who everyone meets all the time. So
that's a fact. That's 100% true.
Good Slater, you might want to handle that situation that you got in your phone.
Clearly.
It's handled, bro. It's handled on my end, you know.
Hey, if it ain't handled on both ends, it ain't handled.
Hey, they didn't turn me back into slave Joe. That's their fault.
Oh, damn. I don't even know what that means.
That's their fault. I tried to retire the guy. They brought him back. I'm sorry.
Anybody got any Madden code, beta codes? Anybody got a Madden beta code?
Yes, I do. 911. Type it in.
That's what you're going to need.
Call in your complaints. Arrest them, please. For that bullshit.
That's exactly what you're gonna need. I told you I was listening to Old Boy video and I got like almost 2 minutes in. He was like, yeah, it kind of feels like Madden 20.5. I was like, okay, I'm done with this video. Done.
So
right
I'll tell you,
you need to tell me.
I'll tell you because I watched a few of those videos. I'll tell you the impression that I got based on those reactions that I was listening
trash.
to.
It's the same game. It's the same Madden. That's the impression that you should have gotten. But go ahead, I'll let you go.
Listen what I'm saying. So what I'm hearing is that basically offense has improved and it's very difficult to play defense.
That's
what I'm also hearing is that they use. I had two, three different guys use Earl Thomas as the example.
Yeah, I've seen Earl Thomas example.
And yeah, they said Earl Thomas has this ability called, it was like film study. And what it is if you start cheesing with a play, then he just basically goes straight to the play, basically.
Oh my God!
If you've
been doing that for years.
Well,
that they just calling it something.
If you played Reds in Madden 20, then you know that people use a lot of single back stretch runs, and a lot of people do it. If you play regs, they pick these teams. They pick the same 4 or 5 teams. Everybody picks the Chiefs. They pick the Ravens. They pick the Vikings. and they pick San Fran, and that's pretty much it. And some people might flip flop in and out on New England, but that's all everybody uses on regs right now. And the reason is just the way the team is designed. And so what people are doing is they're taking the team with the really fast running back and the fast tackles, and they're running these stretch plays, and then they just go left, right, and then when you spread them out, they HB dive it, and that's all a lot of the users do. And it's a chore to play it against. And some of the guys, most of the guys, they're trash because they only know how to run 2 or 3 plays. And so as long as you can stop the play, you get a couple of stops on the play, then you just play your offense because they just gonna play cover 3 all game or cover 2 all game anyway.
Sounds like football at its finest.
It's not, that's really the point. And it's not to it's a change, but it's not necessarily like a shining bright, like, oh wow, I'm floored now by this adjustment that they've made to be able to have your safety, if you have a really smart safety, to be able to play better defense on a play. Like that's something that should have just been built into the AI, like altogether. Like the players should recognize the play because the game knows what plays you're in.
Because guess what? The game, and I've said this before, if they structured the game for the ratings that they've put into these games and the attributes to actually matter, like for example, for exactly what you're talking about is a rating. What's the rating that's called play recognition, right? That's what that should be, right? Yeah. So if somebody's play recognition is high as fuck, that's what they should do natively. The rating ability for that. The attributes should matter, but again, as I've said, they don't. All that matters is the game. You start a play, and the game is like, okay, what's the string of animations that's going to play out in this situation to get the play from A to B to C to eventually being over? That's what Madden does every time you snap the ball. Okay, what's the animations that's going to play out between this player and this player? What's the animation that's going to play out between this player and this player? And this player has the ball, and I'm going to string these animations together and hope for the best. That's literally what you do when you play Madden now.
And someone made another point about an ability that they gave to Lamar Jackson called Big Trust.
I don't even. Oh God.
No. And so what the ability is when he gets into the zone, he doesn't fumble when he's running the ball.
Don't do this. Oh my God. Don't do this.
And I was like,
that's about to be bad.
Don't do this.
With Lamar Jackson.
That's nice.
See, I can't wait till my NDA's up. I got like 6 or 7 more months before I can actually like go into.
I understand. That's why I haven't even bothered you about it.
Because I can't even. They gonna.
We got questions.
Right, Madden 22.
Who don't have 250,000? Is guy.
I understand. So
they ain't gonna sue me.
So now what they've done was okay. Well, now he's got that, and then they went ahead and changed Mahomes from bazooka to escape artist, and it's like Mahomes was already basically Lamar Jackson with a bigger arm anyway. So now you just did that, and it's just like some of these abilities should just be built into the player. They shouldn't just be these abilities you can just obtain. And
they should all be just built in. Just again, they shouldn't. The way those abilities exist and how they're used shouldn't exist in the first place.
If the ratings matter.
Exactly. The ratings and the attributes should just matter. If they just mattered the way they should. But the problem is that because you can do whatever you want with the game, and you take it, and we've had this discussion before on the Madden cast, if you just take a rookie or you take whoever and just like whatever guy, and you're like, I'm just gonna max him. I'm gonna grind him, and he's gonna be 95 overall. He's gonna have this stat, that's that. Like the only attribute that matters in Madden, that the only one that's mattered for a long time, is speed. That's the only goddamn attribute that the game even recognizes. Like everything else is just there. Like even some of the throwing, for a lot of the quarterbacks, some of the throwing, attributes don't really matter very much. Like you could take a trash ass quarterback and just throw like short slants and you'll get by just fine. Like it doesn't, and his stats could be completely trash, but it doesn't matter. It only cares about speed and how far the quarterbacks can throw. Like that's the only other one that registers, like how far they can throw the ball.
Power and speed are only two.
That's it.
Really
that's it. Not even like reception, like, catching ability really matters because, again, you could take guy with a high speed and trash ass hands and you're going to get by. He'll catch enough passes that it won't matter. Like, his hands
Where
is
the
like
animation is going to hit where a guy with a 90 overall
I'm-
catch is going to drop it anyway once he gets hit.
I just played a full season of Madden with Chandler Jones. He rushed the passer every play. 95 finesse moves, finished the year with 1 sack. 17 games, including playoffs. 1 sack. So why did he have 95 finesse moves if he's going to have 1 sack?
Exactly. And that's proof that the attributes don't matter. He only had 1 sack because animations matter. And he's just caught up in too many stupid animations and can't use the attributes. The game can't input the attributes properly because they founded it on making the animations matter more than anything else. And I don't know what Madden it was that started where we started to get away from it not being based around animations. I'm pretty sure it was the jump that we made to what the previous generation of consoles was. When we jumped to 360 and PS3, it was all downhill for Madden after that because they changed whatever the algorithms were that they changed between going from that previous generation, which was PS2 and Xbox, to PS3 and Xbox 360. Like, that was when they started to tinker too much with the shit and we're like, oh, we can do all these new things. We got all this new tech and all this new power. And then it was just about graphics and, okay, they can do these animations and they can do this and they can do that. And that started this snowball effect that's got us into this trap that we're in now with Madden that we can't get out of. And there's no way to get out of it. And the only way, and again, Slade Joe made a good point about this a long time ago, is that the only way to get out of this trap is for EA to literally bite the bullet and just go, okay, here's the same game from last year. We just updated the rosters and some other shit for you. It's $20, but we're working on – this team over here is working on an actual new game. You're going to get that next year. But this year – you're just pretty much going to get what you got last year. But that's what they're doing now, and they're still going to charge you $60 for it. You're getting Madden 20 again. Like, I don't
$70 for some bullshit.
You're getting Madden 20 again. If you don't think you're getting Madden 20 again, you're not watching. Because this Madden 21 is Madden 20 with
sweat.
with a couple of
now the sweat's 2K. 2K puts the sweat in their commercials.
With just a couple of things.
Yeah, they got rain droplets on the jerseys now. That's what they're doing in Madden. If you watch that, they talk about the lighting and ray tracing, and I'm like, bro, like, just let my line block.
And again, exactly. And again, the only way to fix it is to implement to implement an idea like that. And for enough people, the problem is that hopefully this is a year where enough consumers go, okay, we're going to stand by what we're saying. We're going to stand by these movements. So we create the hashtag fix franchise. Like, we're going to stand by that and not buy the game, because that's the only way these changes for the following year can be implemented at all. You're not going to see any change if everybody just goes out to the store and buys this shit again, which they've been doing for the last, 15 years as the game has been broken, like, in some fashion. Like, just if all these 20,000 people that have put a dislike on that Madden trailer video, which I'm sure is past that point now, if they just decide, you know what, we're going to stick by this and not buy the game, plus all the other people that follow all the different channels, that kind of simulation channels that have been pining for a change to Madden and wanting a change to Madden. They still play Madden, but they want it to change. They want it to get better, and of course we're talking about numerous outlets, and all these people have numerous thousands of followers. It's like, okay, if all of those people just say, okay, we're not going to buy Madden this year, that's enough of a dent, I think, that would at least help move us in the right direction.
Huh? You're saying everybody and the creators?
Everybody and the creators. I'm talking about all the people that don't follow those type of creators, but all those people that have seen this trash now, that watched the trailer and they bombarded this video with dislikes, those people plus the people that follow, again, those content creators that are for simulation football games. Because, again, there's a lot of those guys out there. If their followers plus all the other audience of people that have now finally understand that they keep getting the same shit every year, and Madden doesn't care about, again, if the franchise player stands up and goes, yo, I'm not buying that shit. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of consumers. Like, if they only got those people to say, no, I'm not buying it, that would be a big enough a dent, in my opinion, where EA would have no choice but to go, yo, we got to do something about this for next week. And again, one of the guys I watched, they made a great point where this is fixable for EA from a standpoint where you need to show the consumer your plan. You can't just say, all right, well, next year we're going to fix something for you.
Right.
You need to lay out a plan for everybody that says, okay, this is our 2-year plan, 3-year plan, whatever our plan is to fix these problems, and to hear your voice in your input in whatever it's got to be in a bubble though, not just like, oh, bombard the EA Sports Twitter account. Like, it's got to be like a bubble type of thing where it's like, okay, take whatever your suggestions are as a community, send those here, and we have a team that will review that over the course of time. I'm not talking about the 1-year dev cycle. I'm talking about a plan over the course of whatever they dictate is. Again, 3 years is generally a good number. Like, you have a 3-year plan and you take these ideas over the course of time and say, okay, this is our plan going forward, 6 months to a year. This is what we're going to do. This is our cycle to change things, whatever the case may be. And again, would they do something like that? Probably not, but that's what they should do. That would make sense to do, but they're not going to, because, EA is just going to keep doing what they do, and they're going to be like, fuck it.
I like how at the beginning of this episode, Reed said he's not going to go on a rant.
See what happens?
He still went on a rant.
He couldn't help
Bullshit.
It's like me, like trying not to mention Kobe in an hour. It's happening. Sorry.
But I think this is a great time for us to talk about our sponsor for this episode. We ain't got one because we ain't monetized or anything like that.
See, that was a trick.
Y'all
almost fell
one
for
day.
it.
Madden, listen to me clearly. Take X Factors out the game. That shit is ass. It is ass. There's no way Aaron Donald should have 12 sacks in a game. It is ass. Look at me.
Completely agree.
Shit sucks.
That's what broke Madden 20, if I'm being
ass.
honest.
Thank you.
So, fucking X Factors. I call that shit too. I was like, this is not going to be good for this game.
Actually, we'll give you that credit. You did call that right before when that announcement was dropped for Madden 20. You did say that.
A fucking guy's circle should light up and he becomes the greatest player of all time for like 3 quarters in a row. No, that doesn't happen.
Because the problem is that has a 2-prong effect, because it's like, okay, I know this guy is an X Factor player, and if I do these things with him, I can activate it and I can get in the zone. And then that totally changes the way you play the game. Like,
the other problem with the X Factors is that they lose it based on something that's not even their fault. Like when Aaron Donald gets it, so now your defense can't give up, I think it's either 20 or 30 yards, something like that. So now my entire defense, Aaron Donald, if I'm Aaron Donald, I have to, do my part, but also hope that my defense doesn't give up one big play and I lose my X Factor, and now I got to go out there and get 3 sacks again so I can get in the zone again. It's like that's not how that goes. Like, one, in real life, if a single player is in the zone, they're in the zone. It doesn't matter, at least I'm gonna speak for the Eagles. We got, our secondary hasn't been the best. So, if Fletcher Cox is having a great game, he's getting Brandon Graham getting to the quarterback, but Jalen Mills is still getting beat on double moves. That Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham are still going to get their sacks, they're still going to get their pressure, right. And Jalen Mills is still going to give up double moves. Like, that's just how it is. So I don't understand why they made the two, connected. But I agree with you. They should just take them out the game completely.
And they still call it simulation football. Which still blows me away because I'm like,
y'all simulation mode, like on the game. Like, you got it, EA.
So this fall, we're going to have to think of, because I don't know if any of us are going to buy it. So this fall, we're gonna have to think of
I'm
another
buying
game.
it. Unless I get a chance to play the beta, you're not getting my money off rip. You just not. If I didn't
Game
get it,
Pass.
like
2K's not getting my money for sure. Like
2K hasn't got my money for the past 3 years.
Like 2K
I'll
is.
say this.
But
Madden does put out the free trial a week before, so that's
I
gonna
just
be our
love
chance.
football so
sure,
much.
you know
10
what? You're
hours.
right. That's true. I
10
forgot
hours.
about that.
Still get the 10 hours, not 10 hours, but it's about a week
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, that's true too. I forgot about that. So I'll make my
I
assessment then.
play the trial, see what it is.
I'll make my assessment then.
Yeah.
But again, if I feel like I'm playing Madden 20, which part of me feels like that's what's going to happen, but again, I reserve judgment. I reserve full judgment until I actually get to play it. And then I can go, okay, I'm not buying this shit.
It don't sound like you reserved any judgment.
Oh, no,
It's all right.
look.
This fall, we'll all be playing.
Hey.
What's that new game that everyone's playing? Animal Crossing. It looks like we'll be playing Animal Crossing this fall.
Hey, look, let's play stuff we can play in this fall. We got new console. Cyberpunk looks fire. You know, I'll play Cyberpunk, Halo Infinite. We can get on that. Look, we got plenty of options.
Call of Duty still sending out 40 gigabyte updates.
That's my last one. I have no more space.
We are out of space.
If
Activision.
you're listening, stop it, please. Stop it. I don't.
Yo, half of my
episode's gonna be stop it.
Yeah, I got the 1 terabyte
No
S
room.
and about 600 gigs of my console is consumed. And all I play is Call of Duty.
Like 20
It's the
gigs.
only game on there.
No more room. Just stop.
They need to quit.
Make them smaller. Do something. I don't
Then
know.
they're gonna tell you, hey, if you want to save some space, you could delete the data packs. Just don't
Right.
delete the ones that are
They
important.
put that
I'm like,
on the
yo, it
main
just says
page.
data pack. How am I supposed to know if it's important?
All right.
What are you
I got a
talking
topic.
about?
I got a topic for us, and we can close on this one topic. All right. So we all know everything that's going on. How long do y'all think NBA players are going to survive in this bubble?
Bruh. First of all, I think this is a terrible ass idea. Let's just get that on the table because first of all, there's no
hang on. Before you finish that thought, have you seen or even heard like what the rules for the players in the bubble are?
There's rules.
Yeah. So basically, and here's where it's weird. So one, we've all played basketball before,
apparently.
whether it's been, on a team or just in a rec league, just in the gym, whatever.
As well.
So you know that when you play basketball, you sweat. When you're playing defense, you bump bodies with people, all that kind of stuff.
No contact.
But the thing is, when they're playing basketball, that still happens. When they're not playing basketball, they have to maintain, social distance at all times. That includes when they do ping pong, when they play video games, if they go, whatever they do, they have to maintain 6 feet of distance. So you mean to tell me that if their game isn't until, let's just say 8 at night, if your game is at 8 at night, I got to stay 6 feet away from you from the time I wake up all the way until game time. But we can bump bodies during game time. Then after game time, we got to be 6 feet apart. So when does Corona not pass?
During the game, dummy.
Right.
You got a degree for Corona doesn't exist during the basketball games, duh.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
my
all.
bad.
Yeah, all you gotta do is just shine lights on people and make sure they touch the orange ball once in a while, and it's cured.
You can't be 6 foot against,
Ultimately, again, to continue my point of why, the reasons, there's plenty of reasons why this is a terrible ass idea. But again, this is just the league needing to recoup funds. Okay.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's what this is about. There's no two ways that it's like, oh, we don't want to make this is for our players. Stop. We know what this is about. It's about them greenbacks. Okay. So we've established that it's still a terrible idea. And again, this at the end of this is still going to be a shit show if this finishes, first of all, because this could not finish, right?
That's very true.
So if this concludes, if they get to the end of this and there's a resolution, there's a winner, this is gonna be the worst asterisk ever they put into a fucking record book. Good God Almighty, yo! Whoever wins the chip at the end of this, is that like you didn't win? You didn't win shit. You don't get to believe. You shouldn't have a ring ceremony next year. No, like nobody's. This is not like the Spurs lockout season. This is not like that. This is.
Oh Lord, here goes.
This is worse. This is like.
It's way worse.
This is way worse. This is like, man.
Didn't LeBron get his first? And I'm not trying to bash LeBron or anything like this, but wasn't his first championship in the year that they had the shortened NBA season?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, but it was like 60 games. That's
right. But no, but
yeah,
my point that I'm trying to make is even though that season was shortened, because technically this season is shortened and the amount of regular season games they played and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, like, they still play that continuously. I think the problem that a lot of people are having is they had 4 to 5 months off. So everyone that was hurt, beat up,
coming in
bruised,
fresh.
Everyone's coming in fresh. And then you've got other players that Avery Bradley's not playing, Dwight Howard might not play, Lou Williams might not play. The Nets had 2 key players already catch it. Jokic, he caught it. Like it's you don't even know who's playing. So technically, the Lakers and the Clippers could meet up in the playoffs, but it won't technically be the Lakers and the Clippers that we thought we're going to meet up in the playoffs.
That's right.
In the ballroom, like I understand.
We at the point. We at the point where. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm bugging.
No, do your thing.
No, we at the point where Rudy Gobert said the other day that he's just now starting to get a sense of smell back.
Yeah, like
and that's been since March.
Like, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, is the commerce that serious? Like,
you've heard it here first. They're going to.
Because you know what it is? It's because the owners don't gotta play.
They don't care. They want their money. So
right.
But if they finish the regular season, they complete their TV deal. So what I think is going to happen, they're going to play these 8 games in the regular season. That's going to complete their TV deal, like ESPN, TNT, and whoever else still with ABC. It's the same thing. But once they finish the regular season, guarantee it, a big name player is going to have COVID, coronavirus, whatever, and they're going to shut it all down. They just need to lock up that $10 billion for like the regular season.
LeBron or Kawhi or somebody else.
Zion Williams.
Not to wish that on them or something like that.
And they shutting all that shit down. They just need that little $10 billion. Because they've lost so much money already. Like they need it. They don't need it.
See, and that's the thing. No. Like the NFL's already said they're moving forward. They're not, that's a couple months away. They just said, hey, we'll just have fans wear masks. They'll have to, we'll just have less seating available for fans. Because I think outside of basketball, the only other sport where it's possible to do a bubble is soccer. I don't think that there's any other sport where there's like a lot of fans that are normally there. Like I don't think it's possible. So I'm not counting indoor track and stuff like that. Like I'm just looking at the major ones that everyone sees on TV, like basketball, football, hockey, baseball, like all soccer, whichever ones I didn't say.
Baseball never coming back.
But they're supposed to start back this month. But
I don't believe.
I don't think they're gonna last that long either.
That's gonna be interesting.
What'd you say?
I'm agreeing with y'all. I don't think the bubble. I will be more surprised if we even get to a a Final 7 or NBA Finals or anything like that.
If I was in the bubble and like say I'm playing for the Spurs, after the first 3 games we're out of playoff contention, I'm not staying in the bubble. I'm leaving. Like I'm in Orlando. I'm going out. I'm going to turn up. I'll come back and play this bullshit last 3 games. And, like, who cares? Because, hey, if I don't win the championship, nobody's winning the championship. I'm coming. We're going to cancel this whole thing. We're going to shut this whole thing down. But, I don't know. I think it's dumb, to be honest. They're just forcing stuff right now.
It's dumb. They're forcing it. It's about money. And you know it was about money once they're like, hey, we're gonna take these 8 non-playoff teams. We're gonna go play some games in Chicago. Like, what? No, nobody's checking for the Knicks and the Cavs. Like, what are we doing here?
Everybody wants to see the Cavs Warriors part 5. So
nobody's doing that.
It ain't even gonna be part 5 because Clay, Draymond, and Curry ain't going.
Steph Curry, let me get this. Look at me. Steph Curry's not going anywhere near Chicago or wherever they're playing at. He's not going anywhere.
That's not happening.
Steph, what?
Definitely not happening.
Draymond needs to go, but that's a different story for a different day.
Correct. 100%.
But we'll see.
We shall see. All right. So I guess that
I didn't finish my drink.
that wraps things up here for our official Sports Gaming Anonymous podcast about nothing. About nothing and about everything. It's a wonderful thing. Fellas, it's been real. Thank y'all for joining. That 2-4. C, Dre, Sladro.
We here.
Appreciate y'all for joining me. We you can catch us Sports Gaming Anonymous. Just come check out the Facebook page. We're on Twitter,
YouTube.
Hey, we are all over
Instagram.
the place.
Hey, look.
If you're looking for us, you'll find us.
We got a Twitter page. We got a YouTube page. We got a Facebook page. And look, if we get it popping, we might have a Pornhub page. Just follow us.
I don't even want to know how that's going. I ain't got no part in that one.
Hey, you're a producer, bro. You gotta sit there and film. You good? You're gonna be in that thing.
He'd be like this, like.
Sports Game Anonymous is really about to take over the internet, huh?
Told y'all. Hashtag SGA After Dark.
Hey.
Appreciate y'all for joining us. Thank you again. Catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.